Obviously, a lot has transpired with the shooting, the ICE-related shooting over in Minnesota. And it's just been really incredible the last 24 hours. When I was here yesterday, it had just happened. And so we just got the video, and there was really nothing else that had shaken out of it yet. And now, since we've had 24 hours to kind of digest and see everything come out and hear eyewitness accounts and get multiple different angles of the actual incident, it is increasingly incredible to me that leftists are actually trying to defend this. They're actually trying to defend that this woman who tried to ram an ICE officer with her car is somehow the victim. And the villain in this story is actually the man who had a giant vehicle being driven at him. Somehow that is the story that they're sticking to. And so I want to show you guys, okay, the shooting. Let's just revisit what actually happened. So this is, of course, the first video that came out. She is impeding ICE. She's like, what did you guys think was going to happen? She's so surprised. What did you do? I don't know. Tried to keep someone from running me over. So that was the first video that we showed yesterday. But we have different angles now. So I wanted to go ahead and do a slow-mo version of what we have here. So you see the man, she turns the wheel toward him and starts going. And it seems that like she only slips on the ice, but she's clearly gunning for him. And that's the point in which he, right in front of her car, there he is. Okay, she's coming towards me, I'm shooting. Which, I don't know how you could expect someone to not do that. If I have a giant vehicle going toward me, I'm doing that, all right? So the victim, I don't even know how I would say that. It's tragedy. When life is lost, it's always tragedy. But this is one of those things that's like, guys, I don't know. Don't do that. Don't commit crimes. Don't impede ICE's work. Don't do that. So the woman who got shot was 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. And she was, is married, currently married to a lesbian. She has a lesbian relation. Well, she was married to a lesbian. She had 3 kids, one of whom lived with her and her lesbian wife, and the other 2 who lived with their father. I don't know why. Usually when that happens, children live with their mother. But she had 2 other kids that lived with their father. But she was there at that protest with her wife. And her wife afterwards was like, it's my fault. I forced her to come. And so this is the woman that was shot. This is the woman that was impeding ICE's, of course, law enforcement. This is the woman who was harassing them all day. And this is a woman who unfortunately lost her life due to the consequences of her own actions. And so it's just incredible to see the media slobbering all over her as if she were some hero, as if she didn't do this to herself. NBC News, woman fatally shot by ICE agent remembered as one of the kindest people. She was one of the kindest people. I mean, aside from the fact that she tried to run an ICE officer over, other than that, she was one of the kindest people. A woman who identified herself as the deceased's mother. So I love that writing there. A woman who identified herself as the deceased mother identified her as Renee Nicole Good. And Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota called Good a U.S. citizen, which is like, okay, a mother, and a Twin Cities resident. Let's go over to the Washington Post. Woman killed by ICE in Minneapolis was a mother of 3 and a poet. she could rhyme well. So she must have been a good gal. Now, she was a mother of 3, only apparently had one of them living with her. We don't know why, but she was a mother, and she was basically Dr. Seuss. And also she was an avid writer and hobby guitarist who won a poetry prize in 2020, according to online records and an interview with her father. So she was like great at Guitar Hero and also could rhyme well. It's almost painful to read this. It is almost painful to read these glowing reviews of this woman who, again, I'm not like, I don't gloat in her death. I don't mock her death. I don't wish ill will on her family. In fact, I find it absolutely tragic. I find it absolutely tragic that this child that she had custody of, because the dad was dead, her 6-year-old is now an orphan. Like, I actually find that horribly sad. But I find the coverage of this in the mainstream media to just be absolutely disgusting, because I want to just kind of let's do a little flashback. Let's do a little trip down memory lane to how the media described Ashley Babbitt when she was killed. Okay? NBC News. Woman killed in Capitol was Trump supporter who embraced conspiracy theories. Ooh, she was kooky. She deserved to die. Social media profiles connected to Ashley Babbitt were almost singularly focused on radical conservative topics and conspiracy theories. Oh, she was just a crazy right-wing nut job who had it coming. Hell, how about the LA Times? San Diego veterans' radical path led to Trump, QAnon, and a deadly insurrection. Here's the funny thing. The deadly part of it was Ashley Babbitt. That was the deadly part of it. And yet somehow she was the villain in this story. And all of the Democrats said she had it coming because she tried to she came up through that window and that officer had no idea what was in store for him. Now, she was, of course, a petite woman, and she wasn't like, she didn't have a gun that she was pointing at him, and she wasn't driving a giant vehicle that could kill you. So I'm not quite sure how in their tiny little pea brains they can justify that officer, hero, this officer, villain, murderer. I don't understand. But then I start thinking, actually, the Democrats don't have any morals or values or, like moral compass at all. They just use death to their advantage. It's just whatever is politically advantageous to them, because what the media refuses to talk about, because it would completely destroy their narrative, it would completely destroy using this woman's death to push their political ideology, is that Renee Good, she was actually doing this all day. Her and her lesbian wife spent their entire day stalking and harassing agents leading up to the shooting. Here's Kristi Noem on that.
Let's remember the events that surrounded what happened yesterday on that tragic situation, was that these individuals had followed our officers all day, had harassed them, had blocked them in. They were impeding our law enforcement operations, which is against the law. And when they demanded and commanded her to get out of her vehicle several times, she did not. So we'll continue to allow this process to unfold and recognize that these law enforcement officers every single day put their lives on the line.
Now, I already know what the left will say. They'll say, oh, well, that's just what Kristi Noem said. Prove it. Kristi Noem wasn't there. Also, Kristi Noem's a right-wing conspiracy theory nut job. So how will we know that that's actually what happened? Okay, well, here's the thing. There was another witness that was actually there, and she confirms what Kristi Noem is saying, basically. Watch.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. That was her goal.
Guys, again, this is not a gloat. This is just literally like, what did you think was going to be the end result of that decision? I mean, it's literally, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And by the way, that's the more kind, less crude way of saying it. I think you guys all know what I'm thinking. So it boggles the mind. Like, this woman actually confirms what Kristi Noem just said. She came here looking for trouble. She was screwing with the ICE agents all day. She was using her vehicle to impede what they were doing. And that was her goal. She had been doing it all day. So if she's big enough to go use her vehicle to commit a crime, because it's a crime, why would you not expect, like, what this officer is supposed to be like, wow, this woman who's been screwing with me all day she just must be turning the wheel towards me and stepping on the gas in like a jokey way, in a friendly way. Maybe she's just coming to say hi. Like, obviously, the officer is going to take everything in the totality in account. And on top of that, this officer, it turns out, is the exact same officer who was very badly injured and dragged by a vehicle just back in June while doing his job.
In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well.
I'm already like, dude, I can't. This guy is actually the hero. This guy, these men and women who are going out there into the streets knowing that their lives are at risk from these dumb retards who want to chase them around, who want to try to use their cars to block them. Those are the real heroes. He is the real hero, because I'm going to play you a news report from the time that it happened, and you're going to see the extent, the severity of his injuries. And I want you to take that into account and realize, what did that man do? He got right back out there and went back to doing the damn job. And there is something to be said about that. And so I want to play you the news report from when he was dragged by a car 6 months ago.
Agents were executing a warrant for 39-year-old Roberto Carlos Munoz. They say Munoz entered the country unlawfully, and he also pled guilty to fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct back in 2023 for abusing a minor. Tuesday
Real good
morning,
guy.
agents
Real
pulled
good
him
guy
over
you guys
for
are defending.
documents say he
Great guy.
refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window.
As he should.
These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts.
So you have an ICE agent who just 6 months ago was dragged by a car. He's like, I'm literally just trying to, like, apprehend pedophiles and get them out of our country. You would think that we could all come together. We could all come together and we could be like, oh, well, those are definitely the good guys. The guys who are coming out into our communities, trying to keep us safe and trying to apprehend sexual predators and, violent criminals and, just illegals in general. Those are the good guys. We can all agree. Those are the good guys. No. Somehow, in leftist world, these are the bad guys for trying to keep all of us safer. And so you have this ICE agent. This is my opinion, legal disclaimer, as you guys know, not an attorney. Do feel like I know enough about self-defense to understand that this was, of course, self-defense. You have an ICE officer who just got dragged by a car 6 months ago and had to go to the hospital, and he sees a woman behind the wheel of a big SUV who starts driving directly at him. Of course he has a right to fire those shots. Of course he has a right. Of course he would do what any reasonable person would do in that situation. I would. I'm standing in front of your vehicle and you start driving at me and I have my weapon handy. You're going to meet your mate. Well, probably won't meet your maker if you're trying to kill me. You're going to meet someone, but it's probably real hot where you're going. So I don't, again, all of the protests that I'm about to show you, all of the mainstream media meltdown, all of the leftist lawmakers getting very, very upset, slamming their fists about this. It's all for show. It's all for show. Now, you probably won't see cities burned down because it was only a white woman, and it's really cold in Minnesota right now. So I don't think those paid agitators, you'd have to up the price to those paid agitators to get them to take to the streets because it's very cold. But they are actually going to the streets and they're protesting, and it did get very squirrely in some of these protests. Here's some tense exchanges with people getting way too close to these officers, pushing up against them. Officers have to push back in that one. And we also had, we also had a protester burning an American flag, which is just, again, like instead of just wasting all of that energy burning your own flag, you could just leave. I don't know. It feels like no one is asking you to stay. You could just leave. And on top of that, this was actually my favorite one. My favorite one was a protester tried to grab, here it is. She tries to grab the officer's weapon and he gets like tear gassed in the face. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to Steven this morning and he's traveling and he was like, "Did you see this?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm watching it on loop right now and it's giving me such great joy." And I was like, "I know. I want to blow up the still shot of him getting shot with tear gas in the face and just like injected into my veins. Like, can you, Fafo, dude, what do you think is going to happen? You're reaching for his weapon." Now, of course, there had to be a leftist spin on it. So what they did was they pulled an image of the officer reacting to him grabbing his gun right in front of him and said another horrifying image out of Minneapolis. "Look at the terror on this man's face as a federal agent points a gun at his face and threatens his life. Enough is enough. Our government is committing war crimes abroad and murdering and terrorizing citizens at home. We need a revolution." No, now enter the image of him reaching for the gun. I mean, it's absurd. Look, he like, what did you think was gonna happen? I love you. He's like, whoa. I didn't do anything. Come on. Now, in some cases, you can't blame these dummies for going to the streets because when you hear what these leftist lawmakers and Democrat hacks are actually saying, they're just fanning the flames. They're just stoking the flames. There's all the usual suspects are saying all the usual language to try to encourage political violence because they are, of course, the party of political violence. And so I want to play for you Tim Walz, who, I feel like we just saw the outcome of people, quote, rising up and trying to intimidate. I feel like we just saw the outcome of that. And after that, Tim Walz is actually just calling for more people to rise up.
I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time. If you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this.
Stand with you to against what? Apprehending criminals? It's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. And do you know what's so funny? The white people saying this, it's like, that's so wild that you're doing this for brown people or, like the people who have darker skin than you. When's the last time anyone protested, murderers, rapists, sexual deviants, if they're white and they're Americans and they have the police called on them and they get hauled off to jail? I don't see any protests there. Somehow, the people with dark skin criminals get a pass. It's wild. And then you have Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who he's going full retard with this. Watch.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
We want to be lawless. We like the crime. We like the fraud too. Shut up, dude. If you want to live in a communist country or something, go live in one. Go live in one. Here in America, this isn't allowed. You're not allowed to break laws. Then you've got the brother marrying Ilhan Omar, who, of course, just responded and was like, no, actually, there was no attempt to run the officer over and no ICE agents appear to be hurt. Get out of our city. But at the same time, she's posting proof that, like, he's right in front of that vehicle. It's facing him. They're just lying. He's right in front. Oh, okay. Well, Ilhan Omar said it. Don't look at the picture. Don't watch the video either, because Ilhan Omar said, actually, that's a lie. Fact check. She wasn't trying to run the officer over. Okay. The ICE officer actually went to the hospital as well, but he wasn't hurt. There you have it from Ilhan Omar, who has absolutely no reason at all to try to spin this narrative. Now you have, of course, the other usual suspects rolling out their talking points. You guys, she's just a legal observer. She's just a legal observer. Observer. Say that 3 times fast. That's in my vocabulary all the time. I'm like, she was just a legal observer. She was just a legal observer. I love being a legal observer. Like, who talks like that? It's almost like there are talking points going out to everyone to just call her a legal observer over and over until it sticks. You know, the legal observers that go impede and obstruct ICE's duties and then, like, aim their car at them and step on the gas. Legal observer. Duh. I don't know. If you don't get it, maybe you're the one with the problem. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jimmy Kimmel, who I don't even think he has a penis at this point. I'm not convinced that there's anything going on down there. He's just such a soy boy loser. I almost can't even stand to play this clip, but I saw it, so now you have to.
Now, I saw this video. It didn't look like anybody got run over to me. It looked to me like a woman got scared and tried to drive away, and they shot her. But that'll be for the court to decide. I know what they're doing. They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. Pretty good, right?
I'm not going to lie. I would probably buy that shirt. Like, that shirt actually seems super cool. But in all seriousness, he says, I thought that I saw a woman who was in fear for her life. Guys, she was harassing them all day. She was doing this all day. She was blocking them. Oh, yeah, she was really scared. That's why she went out there to cause trouble. That's why she went out there to break the law. She was really scared. That's what it was. That's what it was. Now, you have all of these people saying these things. They know that they're instigating. Okay? So what is the outcome of this scenario? We all know what it is. You have more people who are reacting. They're seeing the Jimmy Kimmel clips. They're seeing, all of the they're seeing that this was just a legal observer. She's just a legal observer. And they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is terrible, actually. We have an authoritarian dictator who's sending the military out to kill innocent American citizens. And we should do something about that. And so now you get idiots like this. We're going to find you. We're going to kill you. You're going to die. They think they're the good guys. We're going to get your address from your pension on the government database with all of your loved ones. When this is over, we're going to hunt you down. And they think they're the good guys. They think they're the good guys. They think that it was totally justified that Charlie Kirk got a bullet in his neck for speaking freely at a college campus. And somehow, a woman trying to run over ICE is the victim. I can't take it. I just can't take it. These ghouls do not care about human life at all. You know how I know? Because where were the protests in the streets when Irina Zarutska was brutally murdered by a career criminal? A beautiful, innocent woman sat on a train and died and didn't have to. Where were the protests? Where were the people in the streets? Where were the American flags being burned? Where were they? Where were they? When Laken Riley was brutally raped and murdered, just left for dead. Where were the protests? I mean, I could go on and on. I could spend the whole show going through example after example after example. They don't care about the death. They don't care about anything other than using it to their political advantage. And it's disgusting.